Hello there, Leo. Welcome to your monthly forecast. This is for the month of September, and I'm really happy to see you, and I hope that this month is getting off to a good start. I'd like to extend a nice warm welcome to all of my returning viewers. It warms my heart to be able to be here each month, and I appreciate the work that you continue to do on yourself. And if you're brand new, I'd like to also introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and let me quickly talk about how I organize the reading from month to month. First of all, you can always use these for your sun, rising, and moon sign. You can also watch on behalf of someone that you care about. If you don't happen to know all of that information about your chart, then just stick with the sign that you were born under, and that's going to be more than enough to give you the guidance for the month ahead. The way that I break it down is as follows. I like to start off with channeled information, and this is when I just connect directly with spirit. I do some automatic writing, and I also talk about what I'm seeing and hearing. And after that, then I go into a nice deep dive and look at the Celtic cross. This will show the highs, the lows, and any of the challenges or opportunities that are coming through this month. After that, I expand the forecast and I look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. So as you can see, this is a pretty comprehensive overview. It's really going to give you what you need to be empowered and walk through the month with confidence. So if you like what you see, I'd love for you to stick around until the very end. In addition to giving you a nice, concise overview of everything that we talked about, plus a closing word, something to think about, I'll also give you information on how you can give back. This can include everything from liking and subscribing to joining me on social media, booking an appointment if you're interested, or even doing a contribution, whether it's one time or something that's sustaining like Patreon or even clicking that join button here on YouTube. Again, I'll get into more detail at the very end of the video. Right here, right now, I know you're interested in talking about what's coming through for this month, so let's get straight into your channeled information for the month of September. This month, as I selected a deck of cards and I began to meditate on your sign, the image that came to my meditation, to my mind's eye, was that I saw someone in front of me holding their hands over their eyes like that. And as they lifted them, they were still kind of blocking the periphery. So they couldn't see what was on either side of them. It was only sort of a razor focus of what was directly in their line of sight. I realized this was more of a symbolic image, and as I went deeper into what it meant, my guides were telling me that for many of you, there are limiting thoughts that are creating these sort of boundaries or a very narrow path. And if you were to think of the road in front of you, there are all kinds of opportunities, options, and twists and turns that you can take. But you have to give yourself that ability to imagine that first. If you negate the possibility, then you also kind of take away any potential progress you could make to accomplish that. So you have to dream it, and then you have to have that perseverance and follow through to make it happen. So what I wrote down in automatic writing this month, the first piece was simply to open your eyes to the possibilities. So this was you not just taking the blinders off, but like completely getting rid of that limiting thought and being able to really look around and take in all the things that are available to you. These blinders can be self-imposed, culturally imposed, something from your family, something from your friends, wherever they're coming from. I want you to take a step back or to kind of go above your situation and try to look outside of your own limits, and again, the limits of those around you. Once you do that, you may figure out that there's a different path that you want to take. For personal fulfillment, for professional or spiritual fulfillment, whatever your calling is this month, you have to be awake and aware to hear the call, to see the opportunity. The second one was to release those limiting thoughts. These limiting thoughts are often sort of the echoes or reverberations of limits that others have imposed upon us. When they say something like, you're not good enough, you're not young enough, you're not smart enough, you're not connected enough, the list goes on and on. Sometimes that kind of sticks in our head or blinds us or closes off those opportunities. This month, you're going to release or shatter that illusion that someone conjured in your mind and think, I'm going to go after this because it feels right. I'm driven to do this, and I am capable of this. You want to even go a step further and think, I deserve this. And when you start to feel that connection, that alignment, and that ability to think that I can, I will, and I'm open to this, then that passageway becomes accessible to you. You take the key, you open the door. So this is a month to unlock your potential by throwing out those thoughts of can't, won't, shouldn't, never. Those are words that I don't want you to put in conjunction with or use in conjunction with what you want to create in your life. So if you think it's possible, even just opening up to the possibility, then it becomes one step closer to being a reality, okay? Of course you have to be perseverant, of course you have to show up, but you need to at least unlock it with that dream, that hope. That's where everything begins for everybody. Whether you're an artist, an athlete, a doctor, going through school, whatever, you have to think of what you want and what's possible. So this month, get back to that basic ability of dreaming and then follow through as the month progresses into doing, okay? This is a perfect point now to look at the cards. I'm gonna pull the camera down, lay out all of the cards in front of me, and I like to remain quiet at this point so I can observe the patterns, the information, receive additional insights as I'm doing this. But afterwards, I'll pull the camera up and we'll look at every single card and relate it to you and the month ahead. All right, let's talk about your Catalyst card first. The Catalyst, of course, is a connective thread for all of the cards that we see. In many ways, the most important one because it helps relay information on how you can really embrace all of the positive energy and opportunities that are at your disposal over the month ahead. Okay, so the card is reversed, which is showing that something is hidden or something is a little harder for you to access. The Owl card is typically a very instinctual card. That means that you would be following what you feel on a sort of gut level. And also for those of you that might be like me, empathic, you could be feeling things in your body that are helping communicate intuitive messages. So that can mean for those of you that do have empathy as one of your gifts, if you're thinking of somebody in your life, or if they're thinking of you more accurately, you could sort of feel their emotions. You could be feeling a sensation that relays an intuitive message. So sometimes if I'm receiving a thought from somebody that's stressed out, I'll feel like an itching sensation on my scalp. Or if someone's really stressed, I can feel like a pain in the heart or a pain in the gut. I can also feel like a flush of warm energy if they're feeling a little bit upset or if they're just emotionally charged. So this is a month where you could explore how your own empathic sort of intuition and guidance is going to be able to pull you into a right direction or even convey information about people or situations that you're in. Have you ever walked into a room and you just kind of feel the heaviness because there's been an argument, or you just feel the palpable stress in a particular office that you might set foot into? Those things are very, very real. You have to be highly sensitive to pick up on them, but once you do, there's no escaping the fact that you think either I really want to be here, or I need to get out of this situation, or I need to be careful about this person. Listen to that kind of information, because when we look at an animal like this, very good instincts, very good perception, and it's finally sort of tuned to the situation. So again, this might just be once or twice that you feel it this month, but when it comes through, really pay attention to it. You might be missing something. That's the other thing that I saw with this card in reverse, because the owl has these beautifully big eyes, really finely tuned for like night vision. But in other times of the, like particularly in the daytime, it may not be paying attention or seeing everything correctly. So if you're feeling that you might have missed something, I think it's a great month to go back and take a second look, and more importantly, open your mind, open your sort of thinking process to different ways of doing things. To me, this is sort of looking at all the options in front of you, not doing things the same way all the time, trying things at different parts of the day as well. So if you're not really productive and working in the morning, maybe try something later in the day. When it comes to relationships, this is really about looking past the physical. This is a highly instinctual, highly metaphysical card. So the guidance that you are receiving this month is for your benefit. It's also to your benefit to listen to it. And I think that those are the salient points from the owl. The other thing that I will say with this, because I associate like the owl with the goddess Athena. Athena is the goddess of knowledge. The card is reversed. This is saying that things aren't always what they seem, and conventional knowledge may not always serve you this month. It's your senses, it's your instincts, it's your true sort of connection to your soul that is going to be your compass, your North Star, okay? Let's go ahead now and look at each and every card, and as appropriate, I'll kind of bring it back to the owl if I see a connection. We have the Princess of Wands right at the center, basically a page of wands, and pages are about delivery and also receipt of messages. I was talking about keeping an open mind. The fact that this is reversed is saying exactly the same thing, which is keep your mind open to new ideas. Probably spend more time listening this month than sharing or speaking, because when you do this, you're going to be able to see things from a bigger perspective. And I feel like there are some people in your life that need to share things with you. And once they have gotten that out of their system, they're going to be more inclined to hear your ideas. So this is a case of giving first, giving them time, giving them energy, and then they're going to be able to receive your insight, and you're going to have a more successful cooperation, collaboration as a result. Now, as we move along to what's crossing the center, we have Temperance. And there's a conservative energy with Temperance. It definitely connects with the idea that you want to keep some things to yourself, at least initially. I feel like some of you are protecting things, and that's not necessarily a bad idea as I'm looking at everything here. There's nothing showing that you're going to get in trouble with not speaking up. So I think that waiting for your moment is perfectly okay, especially if you get to understand your audience and kind of, it's like taking the temperature in that room that I was talking about. For some of you, you're going to need to just make sure that it's safe, that people are open, and then once you've earned their trust and showed them that you are there to support them and that you understand their perspective, things are going to be great. This is true whether it's a love relationship, a work relationship, or something at school. No matter where you're at, you need to sort of get to know the team, get to know your partner before you go forward, and that's really going to help you in the long run. As I take a quick glance at the spread, I notice that there are a lot of court cards, and for me that indicates two things. First of all, I see a partnership between two, and then I see a lot of other cooks in the kitchen. And I think for you, the main challenge this month is how to balance out all of these personalities, all of these relationships, and still keep yourself centered. I'm gonna go clockwise here in a moment, but first I need to kind of highlight all of this relationship information because it was the first thing that I looked at after I looked at the center. So the balance perspective that I had here is right here in the Two of Pentacles. That's about balancing time, energy, and money. So all of these sort of relationships and opportunities are going to call into question how you should spend your time. In particular, the sort of quintessential thing that I would say with this is that it is work-life balance. Make sure that if you're really putting in energy at work, that your relationships don't suffer. If you're being pulled to your relationships because of some sort of heartache or some sort of issue there, that you don't sacrifice your job. You're going to have to find some sort of a balance this month. And I think you can do it because we had Temperance in the center. So it shows that you have level-headed thinking, and it's just a matter of making sure that other people don't sort of get in the way of your good decision making, okay? The two main relationships that I see coming through here, first of all, we have Princess of Wands, and then we have King of Wands. Princess in the middle representing you, and the king in the environment. They're both reversed. So when we see this, I think that there's a little bit of a feeling of one person thinking that they know better than the other. And I'm not necessarily getting that this is age-based. I feel like there's either a maturity difference or there is a power dynamic at play here where one person is trying to dominate. Because your outcome is the Lord, or aka the Emperor, and the crowning card is the Three of Swords, what I'm seeing is that this could be causing some sort of disconnect or discord or upset between the two of you. And I think because we have the Emperor card in the outcome, this is your month to reclaim power, to stand tall, to stand strong, and it doesn't always have to come out in a conversation. It can be nonverbal cues, it can be just on, again, how you balance and spend your time, that you start to take power back, that you start to convey the thought and also the reality that you are on an equal footing as this person. And that's what I saw, and that's what I feel when I look at these two cards. There is a perception of inequality that is sort of encouraged and continued by this other party, but you know in your heart and soul that you are just as good and just as deserving as that other person. If they can't see it, then it's probably time to step away and to refocus your efforts on something better. In the recent past here, which is the natural next card, then I see somebody else that's coming in. We have the Prince of Pentacles in reverse. The interesting thing about this person is they do feel like they are time and energy sort of lag on you because Pentacles upright is great. It can show generosity, it can show growth, but when it's a personality and we're looking at the relationships first, it can indicate someone who needs a lot from you. Not necessarily a bad person, but they're in a point in their life where they want to either be mentored, where they haven't sort of gained their independence, and because you're in a place this month where you're trying to reset the way that people look at you, that may not be the best investment of time and energy. So I think a lot of what you're deciding to do this month is push back on one person that wants to kind of boss you around and another person that probably makes you feel better because they enjoy your time, your energy, and your mentorship. But I would actually advise that you take a note from the Prince of Pentacles energy here, and instead of developing and investing in someone else, put that time and energy in yourself. This is how you could take that card and turn it upright. I do think that there is going to be some sort of a conflict and or a conflict resolution that has to happen this month. We have that Three of Swords in the crowning position, and when we look at the dynamic here in the outcome and also hopes and possibilities, so the outcome is control, being able to sort of stand your ground, and here in hopes, fears, and opportunities, we have the King of Swords in reverse, which is being outspoken. This is the ultimate card in standing your ground, also saying what you need to. And for some of you, this can indicate a professional coming in, like a lawyer, to help sort of represent you. And this would be a sort of older lawyer, a very experienced one at that as well. If it's just you, it's a matter of not dicing words, but also not being cruel. Both the King and the Queen of Swords reversed do walk that fine line. And so I'm not seeing a lot of cups cards here this month, so I think using your empathy and being able to read the room, as I said earlier, is going to serve you well. All right, we'll talk much more about relationships as I get into the expanded forecast, but I'd like to get back into just this general forecast first. We talked about the center two cards, which were, again, the Princess of Wands reversed crossed by the Hermit. I'd like to now go to the deep past here. So we have the High Priestess in reverse. And I always like to talk about how you can flip the energy of these cards. So the reversal is showing that some of you may either be in a place where you're not listening to yourself, or the advice that you're receiving may not be sound. A High Priestess energy, if we're looking at someone that's coming in from the environment or a friend or a family member, it can be a manipulative energy. Now, if you want to turn this upright, realize you don't need to kind of listen to other people or be swayed in that direction. This is a card of manifestation and power. Look at how this illustration is indicating a connection to source. It quite literally is a sort of magical connection to something that's divine. So I want you this month to really trust that what you're receiving is of value, your insight, your intuition, and all you need to do is believe in yourself and see the possibilities. When you do this, you become the High Priestess. The High Priestess also carries with it a little bit of diplomacy. It's a card where you can Again, once you've read the room, you're able to use that information to better deliver messages and to navigate through it. There's nothing wrong with being able to sort of use that intuitive knowledge and that gut instinct as a guide. That's really what you need to do this month. Don't second guess it. The other thing is, this is about focusing on what's important. A high priestess cannot afford to be distracted. She or he really needs to be focusing on what it is they're trying to create. So I don't think it would hurt to have a singular goal that you're trying to accomplish this month. Of course, you're going to have to spend your time and energy on multiple tasks and also, as I said, kind of do a balancing act. But when you know what it is you're trying to do, you can be much more effective at opening up all of the channels and the possibilities that are going to support that as well. As we look at your recent past, the Prince of Pentacles or the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, you don't want to overextend your resources this month. Instead, again, developing on your own person, your own time, your own sort of insights, that's going to be a better way to spend time and energy than putting that on someone else, or investing that in someone else, I should say. And the other thing is, I want you to start to move in the area of work and projects. When Knights are reversed, it's showing that the onus or the sort of responsibility is on you to create some sort of shift or momentum. So if you feel like things at work are not going the way they need to, things in my life, I don't feel like I'm getting as far as I need to be going. With my money, I'm not happy with that. With my time, I just feel like there's not enough. This month, it's up to you to start to create changes in your budget, in your schedule, and also in your education, if those are the three things that you want to see movement in. Whatever it is that you want in your resources to change, make a plan, stick to it, stand up for yourself if you need to. It's really important this month as we look at your crowning card to get to a place emotionally where you feel safe, sound, and really happy. When I see the Three of Swords in the crowning position, it means that whatever you need to heal this month, it's going to come through if you're not the one that brings it up. This means that you can't hide from an eventual confrontation if there's something important that you need to discuss. If you're worried about someone in your life because they're not taking care of themselves, if you're not being treated fairly, or if there's something else going on, if you just feel sad and you need help, this card says the sooner that you acknowledge and find a way to solve that, the better. Otherwise, it will come through in a way that you may not be able to manage as easily. So you need to feel well. You need to be comfortable with the people or the environment that you're working or living in. And that's probably the most important thing that you should focus on during the first few days of the month. Because I honestly feel that for many of you, if you don't take care of that, that's going to create some instability and some unpredictable energy that will kind of reverberate through this month and could also end up causing an argument, and you really don't want that. Let's look now at your near future. We have the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands shows that it's really important for you to keep working hard, even if you're not getting the immediate gratification. Sometimes it's really difficult because we're used to sort of getting things faster now. I would say over the past 20 years, patience has started to wane because we're in a faster moving time. We're used to seeing results much quicker with technology. But be that as it may, sometimes you really do just have to put the time and energy into something to make it happen. The one thing that is sorely lacking this month is cups. I don't see any cups cards. And the absence of something means that I need to talk about it. So I'm not seeing you giving yourself enough time to relax, to recuperate, to spend with friends, family, and loved ones, to do things in your life that bring you joy. And I believe that for many of you, this is why we're seeing the Two of Pentacles. Work needs to be balanced out. If you work too hard, there are diminishing returns. If you play too hard, the same is true. Just make sure that both of these are at a sort of equilibrium, and I think that that will make you happier, healthier, and more productive, really embodying everything that I could hope to see in the Two of Pentacles. Because we do have two resource cards and they are reversed, I would say this is not the month to make a big expenditure, to do anything too risky with your finances. Remember that that Temperance card was touching both the Prince of Pentacles in reverse and also the Five of Wands. So we're looking at money and work being tempered by a very sort of conservative energy. So I would say it's absolutely important for you to take very cautious action towards any big shifts with your money, with your job, or with how you make a living and sustain yourself. As I look at the environment, the King of Wands reversed, also the next two cards, King of Swords reversed, and also the Emperor upright, what I'm seeing is a lot of stationary court cards, people that are sort of sitting in their respective corners, thinking things through on their own, but not necessarily talking, not necessarily interacting, and definitely not kind of connecting in a way that is casual or fun. And so I would say what could be really effective at breaking the ice and creating a safer space for people to interact, it would be to throw a party, some sort of event, or to get people out of a contentious and stressful situation. I was mentioning how you feel sometimes you enter a room and it's heavy. If there's a place where the two of you are having a hard time connecting, if it's a loved one, it could be at home, or if it's a roommate, it could be where you're living. Co-workers, obviously it's the office. Then take this conversation somewhere else. A neutral ground where neither of you are sort of feeling charged because of stress, because of other things that are pulling you away. This is going to help both of you not feel like you're kind of out to attack each other, because the owl is a bird of prey. If you can see what one another can bring to the equation, if you can balance it out, then I feel like the argument could be diffused. This sort of confrontation could be more of a chance to heal, to learn something about the other party, and to just feel better at the end of the day. One final note that I get with this is simply to get out of your environment a little bit too, to take a trip, to take a walk, to take more frequent breaks at whatever you're doing, whether it's work or exercise or anything where you just feel like I gotta put 100% in this. Try putting about 97.5% in and take some breaks in between. Break it up a little bit. You're going to be much more productive, and you'll be happy that you did that for yourself. As we look at hopes and fears, we have the King of Swords in reverse. Nothing really wrong with King of Swords, even reverse. Again, it is about speaking your mind. It's also about taking some action. The only thing that I would say about this is that a little bit of rehearsal will do you a world of good. Examples of this include the following. If you're going to send an email to someone, write it in a word processing document first. Don't put it in the email, don't send it, just let it sit on your screen and then read it the next day and maybe take out half of it. Take those emotionally charged pieces out, maybe rewrite it from scratch after a good night's rest. That's gonna help you. If you're gonna have a public speaking event, don't wing it. Take your time, write it, do a couple of revisions, just take the time to practice speaking it as well, and then take some note cards in with you so that you have something to fall back on and that you stay on the path that you need to. Essentially, the power of the King of Swords reverse is not in saying the first thing that comes to his or her mind, but it's in the power of revision, of seeing the truth and finding the best way to convey it. It's a diplomacy card, if used properly. And when you think of really getting as concise and elegant with what you're going to say as possible, you're not cutting anything out that's unnecessary. You're basically getting only the information out there that needs to be out there. Stripping away the pieces that could be emotionally charging, stripping away the pieces that could be divisive, and really finding that common good, that common interest. That's your power this month. So take your time, don't rush, and lean on an expert if you need to. Again, this could be an editor for those of you that are writing, a PR specialist for if you're trying to kind of clean up a mess, and also it can be a lawyer if you're trying to find the best way to fight for yourself or advocate. No matter what it is, this card is showing that you can do it right, and I love that we actually have temperance in the middle, which tells me that you already know that I'll wait a little bit before I share my ideas. I'll wait a little bit before I share what I want to verbally or non-verbally. And as a result, you're sitting in a really good place at the end of the month, a place where you feel comfortable in what you've done, where people respect you, and where they're not going to sort of second guess your decisions. So your outcome shows me that you can work through anything, even this challenging crowning card, the Three of Swords. That's coming through so you can heal, so that you can take something that needs to be fixed and really nurture it and put it into a place where you can now move forward. Let's move on to your expanded forecast now. We're going to start first with your health card. Health is not just about what's going on in your body, it's your emotions and it's the things around you, because these affect you. How appropriate then that we have a yin and yang energy card here coming through, showing that for many of you, you may need to actually just balance out the divine masculine or feminine energy within you. The card reminds me of a Florence and the Machine song, Spectrum, where I think the lyric is "Say my name and every color illuminates." Beautiful metaphysical lyric, by the way. And that's really what I'm seeing and hearing when I look at yin and yang here. It's that within each of us, we have a kaleidoscope of colors that we can work with. For most of the last century, the 20th century, I think we were forced to play with one crayon. I think it would be great to play with all 64 colors or more. There's more colors than that in the spectrum, but I'm just using that as an example. So I want you, there's another lyric that comes through from Anita Franco, 32 flavors and then some. So the whole idea here is that we're not just one thing. Be open to having kind of that entire palette, that entire energetic toolbox in front of you. So you can be assertive, you can be sensitive, you can be nurturing, and it doesn't make you any more or less than what your current role is in life. Embrace it, be fluid with it, and know that this month is going to challenge you to exist at all the different points in the spectrum, to be all of the flavors, to be all of those colors. And in doing that, your life is going to be richer because it's more exciting and it brings more balance. So I'm just seeing, again, like a spectrum of light for you. So just try to see yourself not in binary terms, but being able to kind of navigate through the spectrum, okay? One last thing, yin and yang. Of course, these two cards are almost identical. So work-life balance, also looking at your diet, making sure that it's balanced, making sure that your sleep is balanced. The big theme this month is everything in moderation, everything in balance, you'll be fine. As we look at wealth, which encompasses not just your money, but also everything that kind of brings you a sense of self-worth, also kind of how you're spending your time and your energy because it's in that resource area, there's an encouragement to follow your heart. You know what you need to do. I feel like for many of you, you could be in a situation where you are unhappy. It feels like you might be working really hard, but the respect is missing. You could also be receiving harsh criticism from people in a position of power. They could be sort of unwilling or incapable, I would say, of allowing for that growth on your own sort of career path or personal development path. And if that's the case, then you know what you need to do. For others of you, this is a simple kind of nudge into doing something that makes you just feel better about yourself and happier. This can be self-worth. So if there is a person, place, or thing in your life that makes you feel less than, that makes you feel sad, this is a chance for you to take your power back, for you to really speak your mind, using that sort of editing that we talked about earlier, making sure that you're not diminishing the message, but you're just getting the salient points out there. I think that's the important thing. Really, this card is giving you permission to move forward in a way that you know you need to, for self-confidence, for self-preservation, and for more wealth, health, and happiness overall, because I'm not seeing enough coming through for those of you that might be working really hard. And yes, you might have to pay your dues, but if you're at a point where you feel like your budget and it's just kind of tight and you're doing everything you can to be balanced, then you just might not be receiving what you should. And if that's the case, open yourself up for more abundance and look for new opportunities, okay? So trust yourself, move forward in that, don't hesitate. Because we did see that Knight card in reverse, this is a month to take action, okay? Let's move along now to love. Love is not just your romantic relationships. It's a universal currency, so it's how you feel with your friends, your family, with even strangers that you're gonna meet this month. The good news is we have an opportunity for somebody new to come in. It says new love. A new person has stirred your romantic feelings. And what's great about this is if you stay open-minded, if you allow yourself to kind of get out of your comfort zones and possibly even throw one of those parties or conventions or some sort of an activity where more people can come in, this is a chance where you could meet somebody new. I also think for some of you, there could be someone that's already around you, but it's a matter of you opening your eyes and seeing what's in front of you. So just realize that some of this could be a person that knows you, but you haven't had a chance or made the time to get to know them. And there's a chance to develop that further. I always like to remind you that this new love could just be a new best friend. It could be adopting a pet. It's something in your life that just brings you this sense of joy and fulfillment. I think you should take your time getting into this relationship as well and heal yourself first. You don't want to bring baggage into that. And with the Three of Swords in the crowning position, if there is some sort of a confrontation or some sort of an event that needs to take place first so that you can heal, you can release that, etc., please do that. You don't want to enter into that new relationship with all of that old energy because then you'll be replaying the old patterns, and that's not going to help either side of the fence. So let's now move along to your outcome card. This is what I call destiny. And destiny is really a chance for you to look at your trajectory and think, do I like this? Do I want this to be my destiny? Free will is the main component in this sort of card here in the message. I love the message, by the way. We have an Archangel Michael deck here, and it says, decide to be happy now. Let me read the subtext here, or the caption rather. It says, thank you for helping me open my heart to happiness, joy, and bliss. I'm now willing to see all of the goodness in my life. And I do like the idea of being able to see the cup half full, because we're not seeing any cups here, by the way. So I want you to make time for the positive and make that decision that, yes, you're absolutely not only deserving of happiness, but capable of happiness. That decision that I want to be happy, I love myself, I feel good about who I'm becoming and what I'm doing in my life. That is the magnet. That's what's going to attract the new love in your life. And you already know the things that you have to do in your life to bring you closer to that joy and happiness. And it's really about balance. So I think that there's some really great energy coming through for love, for personal development, and for healing this month. And let's quickly review everything that we talked about, and then I'll get into your closing word after that. Your channeled message this month was to remember to keep an open eye, an open heart to all the possibilities around you. Most importantly, release those limiting thoughts, because those can hold back all of the possible development and opportunities that want to come through for you. Sometimes what you're looking for is right in front of you. The owl is reminding us of that. The other thing is to really trust your instincts and the things that are coming through on an empathic and a gut level. They are sound, they are connected to your higher self, and they're trying to guide you into the right position and the right place. At the center, we have the Princess of Wands reversed, which is reminding you to keep an open mind. And the fact that it is modified by the Temperance card is showing you that it may make sense this month to keep things to yourself a little bit, take a temperature for the room, and kind of understand what other people are saying and feeling first. This is going to allow your thoughts, your ideas to be better received in the long run. The other thing with this is it's basically showing you to not go to extremes, aka to create balance, something again that we see both with Two of Pentacles and the Yin and Yang card. Deep past, don't second guess your intuition. We have the High Priestess in reverse, ultimately a card of manifestation, but not if you don't trust yourself. It can also be a manipulative card, so if any of these personalities are coming through and making you feel like you're being pushed in a certain direction, stand your ground and don't allow for that to happen. Prince of Pentacles in reverse is really saying develop yourself, spend time and energy on your own life, your own resources this month. Don't overcommit, don't put it in other places. Not a great month to spend money. Also not a great time to take on a mentor. You need to conserve your energy so that you can heal and work through some of these dynamics that I'm seeing here on the right. I would say the single most important thing that you could focus on this month is health and happiness. With respect to health, Three of Swords means to be kind to your heart. Reduce your stress, eat in a healthier way, especially working with your doctor to make sure that it's going to help with anything like blood pressure or cholesterol. You'll have to work with a doctor on that, but heart health is very important with the Three of Swords, and it also is a figurative thing when we see Three of Swords. It's about how happy are you in a relationship, in a work situation, and just in life in general. Heal yourself, heal your heart, both on an emotional and a physical level. This is what's important for everything in front of you. If you don't do this, then the growth is impossible this month. So focus there first. As we look at near future here with the Five of Wands, a lot of you are in a work situation where you're not feeling appreciated. You may not be getting the resources you need. I mentioned patience is important, but not if your health or happiness or even your money is sacrificed. If it's just a matter of understanding that you have to pay dues, that's a separate note. But otherwise, this is a month where you can have a conversation and speak up for yourself. Two of Pentacles, again, being conservative with money, but also more importantly, making sure that you're making enough time in your schedule to do some fun things. We don't have any cups here. So I think it's important to relax, to have fun, and to decompress a little bit. King of Wands reversed. Try to shake up your environment a little bit, and when it comes to dealing with difficult personalities, to change the mood, to change the environment as well. That's where your power exists. King of Swords. Edit, edit, edit. That's the main note there. Take your time. Don't rush something out there. Know that once it's put out into the public, it can't be taken back, so take your time. The Emperor card is showing that ultimately you have the ability to get back on solid ground. It's also a card that really it supports anything entrepreneurial. Just be careful with the money this month. So it may not be the time to take out a business loan, but you could definitely do the first steps towards creating a personal business as well. Yin and Yang in your health area. This is really about making sure that everything is balanced, that you also kind of play with all the colors, all the spectrum of light, and know that you don't have to define yourself in a very sort of confined way. This is a month to really explore your opportunities. When we look at wealth, you know what you need to do to shift, to be happier, to have a sort of communication or confrontation. This is the month to get that out of the way, because it's going to open you up when we look at love to new relationships, whether that is a brand new love in your life or just a great friend or an animal. It's the right time for that. Just make sure the healing has been done so that you can be fully present. Finally, decide here and now that it's okay to be happy. In fact, it's your divine right to be happy. So this brings your monthly reading to a close, but I hope that you got exactly what you needed in the way of guidance and also confidence building, because I really am here to empower you and let you know that you have a lot of choices to really make your way through this month. It's not set in stone. Free will is a big component of this. And I try to give you what you need to sort of flip those cards around and neutralize them. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment with your closing word, but I'd like to first just say that if you ever want to talk a little bit more about something that we discussed today, or if there's something different that's coming through in your life and you need some advice or some insight on it, then I would love to chat with you. In fact, the way that you can reach out to me is by clicking on the first card in the video or the first link right below it. This will take you to my booking site where you can check out my rates and my availability. If it makes sense for you, then feel free to schedule some time with me, and I look forward to talking to you. If you simply enjoy what you see here and you would like to support it, that would mean the world to me. I mentioned earlier that everything that you see here is very much viewer supported. It's with your love, support, and contributions that I'm able to show up here every month. So if you would like to make a difference, please click on that second card or the second link below the video. This will take you to an area on my website where you can decide how you can do that. It could be a one-time contribution as little as $1. It makes a big difference. It allows me to continue to buy new cards and materials. You can also decide to do a more of a sustaining contribution, and a way that you could do that is Patreon, or now even clicking the join button here on YouTube. And what this will do is really give me the time and energy that I need to do these videos. Each of them takes about a day apiece, so that's half a month. And I'd like to continue to be able to do that. With your support, I can make it a reality. So again, please click that second card and second link if you'd like to. And I'd like to dedicate this to everyone that's done it before and just say thanks to anyone that's making the next round possible. Finally, if you haven't already done so, I would love for you to click the subscribe button and also the like button. And if you want to stay in touch and know what's going on with this channel, first, you can opt into notifications, and second, you can join me across social media. Clicking on the third card and the third link will take you to a place on my site where you can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as sign up to receive my newsletter. After doing this, you can go a step further and also share that on your social media networks. This helps me accomplish my goal of touching people in a way that empowers them, starts great conversations about spirituality, and I really want to create more light workers and healers on the planet. So by spreading the word and allowing people to kind of tap into this free resource, you help make that possible. So I want to say thank you. Let's go ahead now and get into your final word for the month. And I want to focus on flipping around a couple of the cards that were reversed and then giving you something to really allow for growth and happiness, because I think that's the important thing that came through. So I'm going to take each reverse card and remind you on how you can flip it. So the Princess of Wands reversed, it's about keeping an open mind. So that's all you really have to do to reverse that, and know that when the time is right, you can share and show your sort of thoughts and ideas. High Priestess reversed, don't second guess yourself. Make time to meditate and really try to find a singular focus for the month. That's going to help you. Prince of Pentacles reversed, put the time and energy in yourself. Don't give it away for free to others. Really allow for your own personal development to take center stage. The King of Wands in reverse. If there's someone in your life that is not allowing you to be who you need to be, this is your chance to take that power back and take a stand and really make that change happen. This is a month where your own personal action is required to move the needle in anything, particularly in money and development, so don't be afraid to do that. And that's really everything in respect to the reversals. I'd like to leave you with that final card, which I think is the most important. Decide to be happy now. Make time for it, because everything this month really was centering around your power and your balance. And once you do that, I feel like joy, opportunity, and fulfillment will follow. That is everything. So thank you again so much for allowing me to be a part of your last 40 minutes or so. I know you have so many choices, not just in life, but also here on YouTube. And it means a lot that you spent the time with me. I wish you the best on your journey, and I'll see you again really soon. Until then, be kind to yourself and be kind to others.